Hello, welcome everyone. It's great to be back at Prezi. Welcome to the end of summer edition of the DevOps meetup. Are you guys excited about fall? You know, it's a nice season, leaves, pumpkin spice, hot drinks, and you know what else is in autumn? Black Friday. Black Friday is just coming up, just around the corner, and we have a very nice war story from last year when we were trying to scale an unscalable service. So let's get started. Do you guys have those friends who are just over the moon with all these buzzwords, DevOps, TDD, XP, all these things that are kind of just buzzwords if you are not using them? You kind of know what they are, but it's kind of vague. I have bad news. I am that annoying friend. I really like talking about these topics. I really believe in TDD, DevOps, XP, but I know it's hard to put a finger on if you are not using them on a day-to-day basis. So today I hope to demo some of these methodologies for you through this very nice war story and very exciting war story, and show them that they are not a trap. So let's start with a little disclaimer. First of all, I'm going to talk about the production system. It may not be perfect, but it makes very real money for the company that I'm working for, and it's used by real customers, so please don't judge too hard. Second of all, I don't want to include any blaming in this topic. We are all humans, we make mistakes. TDD and all these methodologies are not a silver bullet, but they can be very nice help if you are in a bad situation. So yeah, and also one more thing. All the things that I'm going to talk about are heavily context sensitive. So please, before you start using any of these techniques, check that they are fitting for your use case. So now it's out of the way. Let's get started with the blackest of Friday. So I work for a company called Immersis, and we are known for sending emails. Some of our customers are eBay, Adidas, Runtastic, and we are sending their newsletters, promotions, onboarding programs, basically emails. And if you want to put a fancy tag on our company, it's a B2C marketing automation company enabling true one-to-one communication with our customers, which is a very fancy way of sending emails. Actually, we are sending a lot of emails. We send exactly 7 billion emails 1 month. So basically, we could send an email to every single person on this earth in 1 month. And yeah, so that's what we do. That's who we are. And if we are sending emails, do you guys know which is the most busiest shopping day of the whole year? My title kind of hints it away, but it's Black Friday. So Black Friday is at the end of November. It's the day after Thanksgiving. So it's always a Friday, and this is the official day of the Christmas shopping season, official start of the Christmas shopping season. And in 2013, only in the US stores, so not including the online shopping done by people, people spend almost 57 billion US dollars in 1 day. So it's quite a busy shopping day. It's just to put it in context, if it's 50 times as much money as the budget of Budapest as a city in 2016. So a lot of money is at stake. So you can guess that as an email marketing company, we are quite keen on a successful Black Friday. It's pretty important for us. Last year, I was working on a product called Smart Insight. Smart Insight is a product which allows our customers to analyze the effect of their campaigns that they are sending to the customers. So we can tell them what the people are buying, when they are tending to shop, and what they tend to spend their money on. So it gives them an insight who to target when and with what kind of what kind of campaigns. So let's get on to the problem. As I think every single company and startup in Budapest, we are struggling with hiring software developers, so we don't have enough. And to make do with the number of people what we have, the people who were working previously on Smart Insight were assigned to a different project, and they abandoned it for about 6 months before Black Friday. So no maintenance job done on the product, no new features, no nothing. They were working on something more important. And it wouldn't have been a problem, probably, if the number of customers didn't double in the meantime. So it almost doubled. And as Black Friday came, we had quite an unexpected load. So this is how we started off to Black Friday 2016. Sounds like fun. No, not really. Okay, quick question before we get started. Who has seen the movie Dunkirk? Raise your hands, please. Okay, a couple of people. Do you guys remember the timelines from the movie? Yeah. If you don't, or if you haven't seen the movie, there are 3 timelines. One short term, the air, covering 1 hour in the battle. One midterm, covering a day, which was set on the sea. And one which was set on the mall on the shores of the sea, which covered 1 week. And actually, I really like this division. So my war story is a little less important than Dunkirk, but anyway, I decided to use this metaphor. So I'm going to present the actions that we took in this battle on 3 timelines. The shortest was the hotfix, which covered about a week, I want to say. The infra, which was harder to fix, and it covered, or I think it took 1 month. And the third one was the code, the actual code itself, which was fixed by the beginning of March. So we had to survive a whole Christmas season with that code, but let's hope for the best this year. Let's start with the hotfix, first of all. So on a beautiful November morning, around 2 a.m., we were woken up by quite an unpleasant fact. Our UI was down, and our processes just were flooded with backend jobs which could not be completed. We had very long, very slow backend requests to begin with. So our request timeout was 5 minutes to begin with, which is quite long. So just to put it in context, in terms of industry standards, Heroku cuts your request after 30 seconds. And we started off with a 5-minute interval or timeout period, and the request couldn't be done in 5 minutes. So this is a graph about the number of alerts per week. You can see that we had quite a few during the day, during the summer months, and those are the week numbers, and in spring. But around week 44, which was the week of Black Friday, the number of alerts just skyrocketed. And I want to say that we almost had 30 a week, which is quite a lot if you get woken up every single night. So, and this is when I came to the company. Yay, just a fun fact. Yeah, came at the right period to experience the war. And this is how we looked like with my teammates after not sleeping for a couple of weeks. Yeah, we showed our best for the Christmas dinners with the families. So yeah, this is how we started off. The requests were timing out, the UI was down. What would you do in this situation if you were to fix it very quick? First, I turned to this therapy dog. This is the dog of my tech lead, and we use her as a therapy dog, so it was quite helpful on the somber days. But to get serious, so what would you do in this situation? You can start timing out, you're not finishing on time, and you want to fix it quickly because you need to get those campaigns out. Any ideas? Just shouting if you have any. Yeah, that would be the infra part, which is harder to scale. So the first thing that we did in the very hot situation was to increase the request timeout from 5 minutes to 8 minutes, and this way we could get some campaigns out. It was a trade-off, because if they don't finish in 8 minutes, then you're still making your processes busy, and you cannot serve the other processes. But and you have no guarantee that they are going to succeed in 8 minutes. It was a gamble, but we had to take it. It was the quickest solution we had on hand. So what can go wrong? Or will we be okay? No, we won't. The increasing the timeout may be fine if your timeout is shorter than the rate that the requests are coming in. So what I want to say is that we increased this timeout, but the client was calling us in more frequently than this timeout would exceed it. So we still had the requests coming in. We were trying to serve them, but they were still pouring in because the client thought that we are not going to succeed. And this client was actually a Friendly Fire automation center, which is one of our other products. As the name says, it automates stuff, and it does it really well. So we had a campaign which called our service about 2,000 times a day, and the request, even being served from cache, took about 2 or 3 minutes to serve. So we didn't have a lot of chances, and actually this client was very keen on calling us. So those 2,000 requests were pouring in. We had the longer timeout, but the processes were still occupied with serving those requests and not serving the UI, because the UI and these long-running backend queries, backend jobs, were served from the same processes. So you can see it's quite a red flag. Long-running backend jobs and UI are served from the same thing. What can you do? Put a unique constraint on the request. So that's what we did, and this is actually how we survived Black Friday. We said that, okay, if we have this request, we are not going to serve any more of the same requests for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, we time out, and we start serving that very same request again. But together with the timeout and this unique constraint, we were able to survive Black Friday. But yeah, Christmas season was still coming up, so it was only a hotfix. So what are the takeaways from this story? Actually, we didn't learn these takeaways on these very weeks. We knew them prior to this incident, and I can totally recommend to you that if you are doing DevOps, get prepared. How to prepare? First, know what's critical in your service. So we knew that UI wasn't critical in this situation, but the backend queries were, because those were the ones that were necessary for a campaign to be sent to the customers. So know your critical services, know your critical features, and know your SLAs. So SLAs are service level agreements. Those are the commitments that you say you are going to comply with no matter what, or you try your best at least. And even with the increased timeout, we were able to comply with our SLAs. So that was a conscious decision. Decision that we didn't like, was a trade-off, but we still could comply. And if you don't know, if you are doing DevOps and you are not sure about your SLAs, you are not sure what your critical features are, ask your tech lead, ask your boss. They are really crucial for operating the service. Second of all, have a plan. If shit can hit the fan, it will hit the fan. So you want to come prepared. Prezi has the Prio 1 playbooks. We have the alert guidelines at Emarsis. It doesn't matter how you call them, but if something wrong happens, just know what to do and be prepared. And if you take one advice from me, a part of that playbook should be that you don't code in the middle of the night. So it's a tip that we use at Prezi, and we use at MRCs as well. I have seen very few cases when you really had to code indeed in the middle of the night. Usually, I don't know, changing of a config variable or a good old restart does the trick. So don't code in the middle of the night if possible. So that was the hot fix. It got us out of the Black Friday madness, but we had still a long way to go. So let's get on with this infra thing. And I really like this thinking battleship here. So can we just appreciate the photo here? So if you paid attention, you could have spotted a red flag. I said that Heroku cuts the requests after 30 seconds, and we had a 5-minute timeout. So you can guess, we were on internal infrastructure. We were not on the cloud, and this was the second factor of the unscalability of our service. We were kind of stuck with the internal infrastructure. And not only were we stuck with the internal infra, it was also running only on 2 instances at that time. They had pretty old operating systems, and they were not managed by any configuration management. So first of all, what we did in order to move to these new shiny servers, we had to write the configuration management scripts because we wanted to be able to scale up the service in the future a lot quicker than we did, because here we needed a month to do all this. Configuration management can be done with Chef, Puppet. There are a lot of different tools that you can use. But in our case, it was not pretty straightforward, because not only we are on internal infra, we are operating the servers together with our sysdec team. Sysdec team is responsible for the server to be up, and we were responsible for the application to be able to serve the requests. So first of all, we had to write the configuration management script, and we had to decide on who is on PagerDuty for what. Is the application? So these were the questions that we had to answer. And finally, when we were ready with the configuration management script, we were able to start up 3 brand new machines and then deploy our application to those machines. So what's the takeaway from this infra story? If you can, choose the cloud. I totally understand that there are use cases when it's not an option. So if you are doing, I don't know, high frequency trading, when the hardware really does matter, then cloud is not for you. But if you can, moving to the cloud is a good idea. Also, there is this thing called the 12-factor app principles. I don't know if you have heard about them. They were published by Heroku officially. And it includes principles about managing your configuration, about concurrency, disposability. It basically talks about 12 different aspects, what a resilient, solid web application needs to be able to scale up and be resilient. Also, use configuration management. It doesn't really matter if you are in the cloud or if you are on internal infrastructure or if your servers are managed by someone else. But using the configuration management tool is really, really useful, because then you can start up machines like this instead of finding out who is the owner of that particular process and what happens if I shut it down. And otherwise, when you have to write this, it may be blood, sweat, and tears. So it's a good idea to use a configuration management tool. And on to our last part, the longest, the code. After scaling up the infrastructure, surviving the Christmas season, and surviving Black Friday, we had to make sure that this is not coming up anymore, because we weren't happy, our customers weren't happy, and the people who were supposed to get those emails weren't happy either because they missed on some deals or promotions. And the way we decided to re-architect this application was to stop serving the UI request and these long-running backend queries from the same processes. We extracted this backend request handling into a background job framework to do all this work asynchronously. So this way, these long-running backend requests were not able to take down our UI as well. This is a Ruby on Rails application. We used Sidekick Pro for this. If you are using Ruby and thinking about something like this, I can totally recommend these tools because they are awesome. And as you can suspect, it was quite a huge work. So it took us weeks to design, to deploy, to try. And when you are operating a critical system, trying stuff until it works is not a good way to go. So instead of doing this, because even if you are doing TDD, you are doing XP, you are doing all the things that you can do on Earth to make sure that there are no bugs, there will be bugs. And on a critical system, it may not be so good. So we decided to go with a thing called dark launches. I believe first this term was used by Facebook. And this is the process of deploying a feature to a certain set of servers without releasing them to the customers. So what we did in this case is we deployed, so we designed and coded all these changes, but we put them behind feature switches or flippers, however you want to call them. Those are toggle switches that you can use to manage what the customers see. So we were developing all the way behind these feature switches. Everything was running in production, but we still had the old synchronous way in production as well. And what we did was build some monitoring and logging for the new way and extend the monitoring for the old way. So we were running the asynchronous and the synchronous requests in parallel. But we were serving everything from the old way, from the synchronous method. And we built monitoring to compare these two things. So we were monitoring if the new way was serving the requests the same way the old way did. And actually, it was really useful because we caught some bugs this way. And after running it for, I don't know, a couple of weeks and monitoring that everything was fine, everything was all right, and our users are not going to notice anything from the feature switch, we started releasing the new feature to production. And actually, it was successful. So now we are serving these long-running background requests from background workers and the UI from different web workers. So the two things cannot disturb each other anymore, hopefully. So yeah, this is the end of the, this is the biggest takeaway, I think, from the coding part. Asynchronicity is hard. I don't want to go into details right now because that would have been, I think, a talk on its own. But if I can recommend you one thing, if you're changing something on a critical feature, try dark launches. They can be really useful. So this was our fight, our war story. And here you can see a little thank you present from the headquarters in Vienna that we got after Black Friday. So they were really happy with our performance altogether. And yeah, 2017's Black Friday is just around the corner. So we will see how we perform. Thank you very much.